This presentation is for the 11th International Conference on Internet Technologies and Society. The title of the presentation is Web System to Administer Electoral Processes in an Academic Community. The authors of this work are Jenny Galvez-Garrido, Carlos Roberto Jaimez-González, and Betzabet García-Mendoza. We belong to the Information Technology Department of the Metropolitan Autonomous University in Mexico City. This presentation is divided in the following sections. First, I will give you a brief background of different voting systems. Then I will talk about the collegiate bodies at our university. After that, I will describe some of existing web systems for electronic voting, and I will present a comparison of some of their features. I will also describe the current election process at our university. I will give some of the requirements obtained from the users, and I will present some screenshots of the system that was implemented. Finally, I will provide some conclusions on future work. Electronic voting systems have been used since the 1960s, when electronic card punching systems came on the market. After that, optical scanner systems, later electronic direct registration systems, and finally, web-based electronic voting systems that operate through the internet. It's important to mention that throughout history, there have been several voting systems, such as the following. Voting system using punch cards, where the voter's option is punched in the card by means of a mechanical device. Then a tab counts the perforations for each option. In this type of system, the voter must be present to vote. Voting system using a reading device, where the system is capable of reading the vote that is made with a pen on a piece of paper. This voting process is in person. The voter must be at the polling place. Voting system using direct recording devices, where this is similar to an ATM, which has touch screens and a keyboard. The system registers the vote, and alternatively, another external device is used, such as a magnetic card reader. The voter interacts directly with the system. Remote electronic voting system, which is a system that allows to vote from any device that is connected to the internet. So it's not necessary for the voter to attend a specific place to vote, since they can do so from their device. Well, our university has two collegiate bodies. The Divisional Council, which is the body in charge of making decisions at the division or faculty level, such as the approval of study plans and programs, the approval of programs of social service, the approval of school equivalences for students, the approval of optional courses, among others. And the Academic Council, which is the body in charge of making decisions at the unit level, such as the approval of study plans and programs, the approval of the members of the divisional editorial board and committee, the approval of the members that compose the divisional commissions, the approval of guidelines and instructions, among others. The collegiate bodies are composed of authorities, teachers, students, and members of the administrative staff of the university. In the case of the Divisional Council, it's composed of 10 members. The director of the division, the heads of the 3 academic departments that are in the division, a representative of the teachers for each of the academic departments of the division, and a representative of the students for each of the academic departments of the division. The case of the Academic Council, being an instance of the unit level, is composed of a total of 33 members, among which are unit authorities, teachers, students, and members of the administrative staff, as follows. Vice Chancellor of the unit, the directors of the 3 academic divisions of the unit, the heads of the 9 academic departments of the unit, a representative of the teachers for each of the academic departments of the unit, a representative of the students for each of the academic departments of the unit, and 2 representatives of the administrative staff of the unit. The Vice Chancellor, division directors, and department heads are university authorities. So it's not necessary for them to be elected to participate in collegiate bodies. In this case of teacher representatives, student representatives, and administrative staff representatives, all of them must be elected through election processes where the members of their respective departments vote through ballots that they deposit in physical ballot boxes. This process takes place on a single day each year for the divisional council and every 2 years for the academic council. In these electoral processes, it has been observed that the majority of the members of the university community, especially students and teachers, don't participate due to various factors. Due to this little participation of the university community in these processes, an electronic voting web system was developed for the election of representatives to the divisional council and the academic council. It's possible for the community to access the system from anywhere and vote without having to attend to the university. We analyzed the operation and the most relevant features of 5 electronic voting systems: Simply Voting, voting system of the Taita Taveta University, Ballot Bin, voting system of ESIME, and a voting system based on web services. The features analyzed in the electronic voting systems are presented in this table. For example, whether the system operates through a web interface, whether it is adaptable to mobile devices, whether it allows vote printing, user authentication, whether the system presents the results of an election, among others. For example, all of them are web systems. None of the systems are adaptable to mobile devices. Only the first and second systems allow vote printing. None of the systems present the results of an election through graphs, among others. Well, talking about the current process for the election of representatives of teachers, students, and administrative staff, it is carried out in different stages. The first stage is the publication of the call. At this stage, the call for the registration of candidates for the election of teachers, students, and administrative staff is published for each of the corresponding departments. In order to carry out the rest of the stages of the process, there must be a published call. The second stage is the registration of candidates. At this stage, teachers, students, and members of the administrative staff are involved. Anyone can register, but the head of the technical office is the one who decides if they meet the requirements to be a candidate. Subsequently, a list is published with the registered candidates for each department. The third stage is the voting. In this stage, teachers, students, and administrative staff participate, who issue their vote for a particular candidate from their department. This is done on a particular day on which ballot boxes are set up for the election to take place for each department. Finally, the fourth stage is the publication of results. At this stage, the results are presented in text to the entire community. It's important to mention that this stage is It's important to mention that at this stage, the Electoral Committee, the council members, is involved, which is in charge of counting the votes and subsequently issues a report with the results of the election. At this stage, a report is also published with the disagreements or anomalies that were found in the electoral process. This figure shows the complete process graphically, with each of the stages for the election of representatives, of teachers, students, and administrative staff that belong to the collegiate bodies of our university. The people involved are also illustrated in each of the stages. For example, here we have the publication of the call, the registration of candidates. This is the head of the technical office, which communicates with candidates. It also publishes the list of candidates. It also communicates with the electoral committee. Here we have the teacher, students, and administrative staff who vote on the election day. We also have the counting of votes and the publication of the results. The system developed met several requirements that were established by the users. For example, requirements for the administrator, creation of a new goal, functionality of a calendar, modification and elimination of a goal, visualization of applicants, visualization of results, among others. Requirements for the teacher, student, and member of administrative staff. Here we have the registration of the applicant, notification of acceptance, visualization of vote, visualization of results, among others. And finally, system requirements. Some of the functional requirements implemented are the following. When creating a call, the system must verify that all the fields have been filled incorrectly, as well as make a validation of the dates that are entering a call. When making a request for registration as an applicant, the system must verify that all the fields have been filled incorrectly, as well as notify the applicant if they have been accepted as a candidate once the administrator has validated the information. When making a call request to issue a vote, the system must check if the user has already voted. If not, the system must visualize the ballot with the photos and names of the candidates registered in the department. In case the user has voted, the system will show the details of the vote. When making a request to visualize the result of an election, the system must display the results in text and graphically, regardless of the affiliation of the user who made the request. And this is only some of the requirements that were provided by the users. This is a screenshot of the system implemented. The interface shows the creation of a new call. It shows the web page that allows the administrator to create a new election call, in which all the necessary information must be provided, such as name of the call, date and time of the publication of the call, start and end dates and times for the registration of candidates, date and time of publication of the accepted candidates, date and time the voting will take place, among others. There's a menu on the left side panel to navigate between the different sections to which an administrator has access: calls, applicants, and results. Once the call has been created successfully, the system displays the calendar with all the important events related to the call, such as publication of the call, registration of candidates, publication of the list of candidates, voting, publication of results, among others. In the case of a teacher, student, or member of the administrative staff user, they have access to the published calls. This screenshot shows with the calls that have been published in the system. The user who is using the system in this case, is the student. A student who wishes to register as an applicant in a call for a student election must provide all the information requested in the system. Registration for applicant, teachers, and administrative staff members is carried out in the system in a very similar way. Well, talking about the conclusions, this paper presented a voting system for the election of representatives of the collegiate bodies that belong to our university. The aim of this system is to encourage the participation of the university community in this type of electoral process, since it has been observed that there are various reasons why face-to-face voting hasn't been very successful. A comparison of existing electronic voting systems was shown with the relevant features and the current process of electing representatives for university collegiate bodies was described. The methodology used to develop the system was presented, which included the requirements gathering for students, teachers, and administrative members of staff. The implementation of the system was also discussed with some screenshots of the system in operation, such as the creation of a call and the visualization of calls. Finally, as future work, it is necessary to evaluate the system by a group of users from each sector involved, teachers, students, and members of the administrative staff. It's necessary to test its correct functionality, its usability when performing specific tasks within the system, and the perception of its use to carry out electronic voting. According to the results of these evaluations, the system will be adjusted to later tested in elections of future representatives of the divisional or academic councils. Many thanks for your attention.